Hi everyone, welcome back to our fun little tutorial from Rita Berman's book Die Welt Unter der Lupe Lande. And today we have lots of greenery to do. I'm not sure whether we'll get it finished today or quite what, but we're going to just get going and see how it goes. Now, I did mention in my previous video that I would be using just a limited amount of greens for this so that it all ties together. So I've got my Black Widow pencils as I have been using throughout, and I am going to start with a forest green, which is from the Cobra set of Black Widows, and I am going to combine it together with a toxic green from the Spider set. Now these are both slightly bluey greens, which I had sort of vaguely talked about before. I think they go well with purples and pinks, which we've got a lot of here. Now I'm going to start with over here. I'm just going to, she makes more sense to move that way, but I'm going to move that way across the page. So I'm going to start with my forest, and in fact I might do all the forest green parts on the page first. It needs a sharp pen, and then so let's do the base of the grass. Oh, it wants to break a little bit because it's newly sharpened. Now grass isn't normally this colour, and you can, if you wish to, do the leaves all in different colours, but I want that consistency across. This isn't actually a very bluey green, is it? It's quite an olivey green. I think it will work. I'm just trying to work out where this piece of grass begins and ends, and I want to make it dark where it is near another piece. We've got a stem there, like that, so that we can more easily distinguish between the different pieces of grass. I've got a piece here as well going up here. Look, what it looks to me is like this long stem is wrapped around with a leaf, like that. And then the stem, I'm thinking I will keep it a bit lighter, so I might not use this base colour on that one. And then we've got the leaves coming up here as well. And here they're slightly overlapping, so I'll pop in a bit of darker colour there, and that's it for that bit. And these at the bottom, a little bit there and a bit here. I know I'm zoomed out, but I think if I don't, I'm going to forget. My book is creaking. Unfortunately, the cover is coming a little bit loose. Look, the front cover here, the glue has come unstuck, and it's restuck itself in the wrong place. And it's misbehaving a little bit, which is a bit of a shame. I might put some double-sided tape along there to sort of hold it in the right position. So all these little grassy bits, but it's creaking as the glue is unsticking. It's making a little noise. It's a little bit weird. You may not be able to hear it. It's quite quiet, really. Anyway, so just all of the grassy bits. And we also have this leaf. I'm going to do the stem and the bottom of the leaf, but I'm going to, on the leaf, Rita has drawn these lines here and here, so I'm going to make it darker along this side of the centre, because I think that's what she is intending with her lines. Let's let her guide us. She knows what she wants and what she's doing. Bottom of these bits of grass. Okay, now we're going to move up a little bit to the higher parts. I can zoom in a bit there, because I think I will be less likely to forget. I'm wondering if that is I think it's a sort of bud with a leaf on, so I'm going to, I don't mean a leaf, I mean a covering of green. So I'm going to do that. Now with these stalks, I'm going to not colour those with this because they're on top of the leaf, so I want them to stand out. They'd be lighter So I'm going to leave them and just do them in the fan green. So I'm just doing all the areas I think will be darker with this one. Now you may want to go in even darker after, but it's worth just doing a lightish layer and then adding your second colour and then seeing how it looks really. Now we have these little dots on the berries. Again, I will do those in the fan green and these as well, just because then they'll match all the other sort of stems and stalks. Now, got a little leaf there. Oh, we've got these at the top. So it's really quite simple, just putting the dark green at the bottom of everything. And if you don't have these pencils, any darker green would work. Now for this roof down here, I am going to also use this. I'm going to make them look like leaves, I decided. I had been thinking, but I think green and red is a nice combo. So I thought I'd do them as leaves. You could do them grey as roof tiles if you wanted. What it does mean is I'm not, or am I? Do I make this green? Yeah, I'm going to make the little planter green. I'm going to make it a little bit darker on the edges and lighter to the middle, because I'm not going to add any of the fan green to that, because I'm going to use the fan green for the tiny little leaves on here. So I now am grabbing my fan green. I'm pretty much certain I've done all the rest. And do these little leaves. What I'm going to do while I'm here is that circle. There is a risk that I will forget to do that circle if I don't do it now. And I'm just going to do it in a dark brown. I'm going to grab a Huntsman pencil and try and make it a little darker around the edge and in the middle, but it's hard, it's too small, so I'm done. Now toxic green, let's get going. You can see I'm going to go over the top of that darker green and then fade it towards the tip of the leaf. Oops. Right. Paper's getting in the way. I've got a piece of paper under the page, which I always do when I colour, either a piece of paper or a laminate sheet. Laminate sheets are quite good because they're reusable. If you've got a laminator, you can just do a blank sheet, or you can do just a blank piece of paper or something and do it that way. But when it catches the light and shines, so I don't use them when I'm filming because I think they might be very irritating. Sometimes they annoy me when I'm colouring. So you can see I'm just going over the whole of the grassy stalk with this. It's really simple. We've got this big leaf to do, so I'm just going to go over that bit. I'm going to keep this top layer fairly light. A little bit darker underneath in the way that Rita has marked it. Near a helicopter or something, or a plane. I'm not very good at identifying which is which, to be honest. Okay, that's our leaf. I think it's supposed to be covering the pile of seeds. I've got a little bit down here to do. Still been thinking about having a little dedicated colouring space. I'm sure some of you have got them in your houses. I don't really, it's quite nice in a way, like on a weekend, we're all in the same room. My husband is usually watching a film with some headphones on, My sons are usually watching YouTube videos with headphones on, and I'm colouring with I don't listen to musical watch films very often, occasionally. Or I might be watching YouTube occasionally too. Okay, I'm going to zoom out a little for these long ones. Whoops, doesn't want to work. And so, but the fact that we're all in the same room together is nice. You know, I'm enjoying having the boys home. It makes me feel so like they're getting so big. Like yesterday, they were at college. There was this sort of convention there where they had to go and talk to potential employers or universities. It's just like, my babies are growing up. But actually, they both decided that they want to stay here and study if they go to university, and so that it's cheaper, which we've said they can, and that we would help them out, that we would help them out with basics. So they both decided to do that, which means I've got them at home for a bit longer. I haven't done those. I'm sure you all noticed when I made that bit of video. But hey, I shall do it in a minute. Now you could spend a really long time on any aspect of this picture, to be fair, making it look, you know, really perfect. Lots of beautiful shading, like on this grass you could make this bit in here darker, that sort of thing. But I just want to make it bright and pretty, so that's my plan. Right, I'm going to find the right blue for that. It was the Starry Night, so I'm just going to do that just because otherwise I will forget. Okay, now we're moving upwards to the top part. I shall zoom in a little. There we go. So I'm doing this stalk. We haven't got any of the other colour, it's just all this one shade of green. I may decide to change that in a bit, but we'll see. My pencil needs sharpening. We'll see how it looks. Where are we? See, that bit I think benefit from being a little bit darker, and that bit. So when we're done with this layer, we'll put a little bit of the darker colour on top. You can hear car doors outside. My neighbour has visitors a lot, and for her work, people come and pop things through the door or pop in and see her, and always hearing car doors. My children have left this morning and just left their chairs higgledy-piggledy, spun round. They have like office chairs at their desks, and so I cannot see out of the window properly because there's this blockage of chairs, so I can't be nosy and see what's going on. But I'm not expecting any deliveries or anything, so I'm sure it's nothing exciting out there going on. Although my husband asked to look at my Amazon wish list the other day, I was a bit confused. I didn't know why he did that. Look, that bit in there needs to be red. Which red? The deep red was the one we used. In there, look. There we go. Yeah, so I don't know, but that was quite a long time ago. I think if he'd bought anything off it, it would have arrived. But he knows that I don't like him doing that because, you know, I like to get things like when it's my birthday or when it's Christmas, it's a nice treat. But in between times, I've got plenty of things, so I don't tend to do too much, get too much. But actually, I need to have a little look at that list, change it a little bit. I do from time to time. There's quite a lot on it at the minute, which is a bit embarrassing. Hey ho. bit of fun. I'm sure I know a lot of people have them, and it's just a sort of way of thinking, oh, that's nice, and I must remember that I might like that at some point, sort of thing. But I just feel so lucky that I have so many nice things that I don't feel the need to treat myself too often. But I know everyone is different. Some people really like getting new things, and it really helps to cheer them up, and that's nice. Whereas although it does do that for me, if I'm feeling down and buying things isn't what I do, it doesn't have that impact on me in the same way. I don't feel down that often, which is really good. And what I tend to do instead is identify what it is. Now, sometimes it's the news. So I've stopped at the moment, actually, I've stopped watching the news. I don't watch the news actually anyway, but I've stopped looking at it. I look at it online. So in the morning, I have a quick look at the headlines, and I have another quick look about tea time and see what's going on. And then I might go into the sport pages. I'm a bit of a tennis fan, have a little look at that, or Olympics, if there's Winter Olympics on at the minute, Paralympics I should say. So I have a little look at that, see what's going on. And apart from that, I just don't read stories. I find personal stories about individual people who are suffering, it makes me feel very sad and helpless, and so I don't read them. So I look at the headlines, see what's going on in the world, look at anything of interest that might affect me personally, and just don't look at the rest. So then I don't feel like I'm ignorant and I don't know what's going on, but on the other hand I also don't feel really sad and upset, which isn't good for me or for anyone really. There are things we can do when things are happening. I sort of try and donate money if I can and things like that to help out, and then that makes me feel like I've done what I can do and I can't do anything else. So keep on reading about it, and looking at what's going on isn't going to make it any better. There's nothing I can do to improve things. So it's better for my mental health and for everybody else's who lives around me for me not to look at it. So I do that, and also I've got to come on here and make a jolly video for you guys, which I love to do, and if I'm not feeling happy I can't put it on, so I just don't look at it, and then I can be jolly, and that's nice. I'm relaxed and not worried. Occasionally I do get hormonal moody, and then there's really nothing I can do about that. Now on this we have these dots. Remember I said if you watch previous videos I was going to make those white. I'm going to do that still. But this little bit under here I've decided to make grey. I shall zoom in a little for you. We're going to do a little bit more grey actually anyway in this picture. Now I think we've done all of the green. I may find some that we haven't done. Now the green isn't a really hard layer. It's quite light, and you might want to press down harder, add more layers to get it looking a bit darker and harder, but it's not what I want. I'm quite happy with it as it is. Now I need a grey for the bottom of the mushroom. I think I'm going to use the charcoal. That's quite a nice one. This is from the Cobra set, and I'm not really sure whether it should be shaded or anything, so I'm just going to fill it in like that. And we are going to do these stones. Ooh, sorry. There we go. Now our mouse is grey, and I want to do these stones grey as well. So what I'm going to try to do is make these quite dark so that they don't look like our mouse, or don't sort of get lost. I'm going to want some shine on them, as if they're catching their light a little bit. So I'm trying to do them darker, particularly at the bottom and a line on the top, and just bring them around, because remember, stones aren't usually completely flat, although if these are stepping stones they would be, but I'm assuming they're like pebbles. I'm going to do these little ones as well. We can't really do much shading on those, they're teeny. We'll just put some colour into them. And the same down here. Can you see? No, you can't see. I'm sorry. It was just the same. You may have been able to see slightly. I don't know. Anyways, you can see now. So it's basically start down here, quite a few layers, quite a layer on top, and then just bring that in so it's lighter. Nice and simple. I haven't done Monday's planner page yet. This video is going out on probably Wednesday. I'm trying to think of what to do. I've got it beside me to try and inspire me to think about what to do for it, and I cannot decide. I'm just sharpening up because I've got some smaller bits coming up. I'm just going to do these little ones. So yeah, I'm trying to think. I really don't know. I haven't done the page for you before, which is it makes it a little bit easier. Because if it's a page I've done before, then I have to think of something a bit different. But which sometimes is easy if I, you know, wasn't sure how to do it the first time and did it. Look, that leaf hasn't been done. You can't see that leaf. Oh. That leaf there hasn't been done, so I'm just going to do that. There we go. Right. Now I'm just looking. Let's zoom out. Ooh, come on, come on, come on, come on, camera. Right, let's look at the whole page. Now, I'm just looking at everything. I think we've done most bits. We've got these dots and droplets. And most other things are... Oh, we haven't got the ends of the berries. I'm going to do those in the dark green that we were using, which was the forest. I'm just going to sharpen it, and I'm just going to do those little ends. It's still not very sharp. Hold on. Oh, it's breaking. Hang on, my sharpener's full up. Luckily I've got the bin right next to me. If your sharpener's full, your lead will break. Ooh. Now, what we're doing after this, once I can get my pencil to sharpen, is to do the background. Now you may not want to do a background, and that's completely up to you. I've just noticed a bit of green there that hasn't been done. So it's up to you. I'm going to do it with pastels because it's easier. So I'm just going to move those aside. I'm just going to put my pencils away for a minute. Actually, just one set. And I'm going to get out my pastels. This is the set that I use. It's the only set I've ever tried, so I can't say whether it's really good compared to other sets, but for me, it works perfectly well. So I'm very happy. Now, we've got a sky and we've got a ground. I'm thinking I want to keep them quite pale, but I still need something there. So, and don't worry about these dots and things, we're going to deal with that after. I'm just finding my little applicator cloth. I have these. These are cotton makeup cloths, and they're washable, and I just use them for pastel, and then once I've used a batch of them, I give them a hand wash and then pop them in the washing machine. They come in a little bag. You can put it in the washing machine, and then they go a bit curly. Can you see? They were nice and flat when they first came, but so I think they shrink a bit, but you know, they're fine, they're good. Now I'll show you my colours and talk you through what I'm thinking about. So sky, I'm going to go with that blue there, okay, but ground I am thinking Do we do green? Do we do brown? I think what I'm going to try is a green. Now I like these olive greens, but it's not really going to match. I'm thinking that's probably grass, so I'm going to go for that green there. So I think I could do the brown first. I haven't used that green before by the looks of it, or maybe just a little bit. So I'm rubbing, let me just show you. Sorry. I'm rubbing my cloth on the green like that to pick up some colour, and that's what I'm going to use. I'm just going to do that off camera. I can't stretch very well. Okay. Now when you're applying pastel, if you put your hand on the paper, you can get greasy patches on there and it can spoil the look of your pastel. So I'm going to find another cloth. That's a dirty one. Hang on. Oh gosh, there's a lot of dirty ones in here. There we are. I'm going to find a clean one to lean on to hold the page down. You need to hold the page down. I'm just going to, ooh, sorry, I hit the tripod. I'm just going to brush the page off. You need to hold the page down because if you keep moving over it like this, you can rip the page. So you need to be gentle and careful. So there's no need to rush and go fast. So I'm going to hold the page like this. I'm going to start down here and just put in some green grass. You might feel that this is a dirt ground rather than green, and that's fine. If you want to do it brown, that's okay. I just wanted a slightly different warm colour because we've got these browns. We've got the building is almost brownish. It's sort of orangey brown, and we've got greys and green and greys, but we've got some greens, but they're a different shade. So I just thought it would work. But have a look when I'm done and you can decide. You can do something very different. Now if you've layered your pencil up well, you can put the pastel right over the top and it won't matter, and it will sort of resist it almost. I haven't done that, but the greens, it won't really hurt mixing with the greens that are already there. So I'm just rubbing on really simply. Now you can make this as dark or light as you want. Oh gosh, I tend to like it quite pale, but it looks much paler in the camera than it is in real. But I only get, my screen on my camera is really quite small, so I'm never quite sure. So I've done that on that one. I'm just going to fold it in and do my blue on the other side. That blue, wasn't it? Got an awful lot more blue to do than we did green, so I'm going to pick up a lot more to start with. Now do press lightly, because when you first rub on the pastel, there's a lot on your cloth and it can go on quite thickly. If you want it really thick, that's absolutely fine, but you need to try and get it evenish. I think I have to. Now with pastels, you can leave little white gaps as you colour, as you rub, and it looks like clouds. But I am going to bring you down a bit, but I'm just going to do a full blue sky. Now I'm rubbing right over the top of the little circles and different bits and bobs because we're going to go in there with some white pen after. So make sure you get all those little gaps around everywhere and everything. Got quite a few details on this page. Trying to be careful. I've got my cardigan on again today, and the sleeves hang down. I'm trying to make sure they don't knock all the pastels on the floor, which could be slightly disastrous. I'm sure it would come out of the carpet because it's the dust, as long as I didn't get it wet, but even so, it wouldn't be ideal, would it? My carpet is quite a pale colour, but anyway. Well, going with this. We've got a little bit more to go on the other side. I'm just going to move this and hold it there. Now it can be wise to put a piece of paper over your facing page to stop the pastel spreading across. I'm going to try and be careful, and also it will erase actually very easily. It doesn't tend to, if you do a light layer, it doesn't seem to stain the paper, and you can erase it, but I can only speak for this particular brand. I know there are loads of pastel brands, so it could vary a lot depending on what you are using. Now I think that is me done. Yeah. Now I'm not too worried about making it really even, because the skies aren't always perfectly blue and the same shade throughout. The only thing I would say about using pastel like this is if you have used a particular brand of pencil that's a bit smudgy, then you need to be a little bit careful that as you use your pastel you don't actually smudge your pencil around the page. But if you're gentle and slow, you should be okay. Now we're going to use some white now to do various highlights and bits and bobs. So we're going to lean on this so that we don't get pastel all over our hands, or I am. So I will show you. Now I'm going to start with these little water droplets. Let's zoom in for you because we're going to be pretty much at the top of the page most of the time. Right, let's pull you down. Okay. So what I'm thinking with these is we've got the blue from the background showing through, which is exactly what would happen with a little water droplet. Actually, I need to start on this side of the page or else I'm going to smudge my pen. I shall show you that after. So these I'm just going to colour in white. I don't really know what they're supposed to be. You could do them any colour you want, but I just was feeling white was the way to go. Now whatever pen you're using, you may find that the pastel would transfer onto the nib a little bit, so you may need to occasionally go and scribble it elsewhere just to clean it off a bit. I think I've got away with it there. Now I'm not just going to do those bits, I'm going to do a few white dots on some of the flowers. I think it just makes them look prettier. So we've got some there, I'm going to put a bit on them like that, and this one I'm going to put some around the centre like that, and the same on these, and it just lifts them a little bit. The strawberries, I'm going to put a little white dot on each of the black bits because quite often these seeds are quite shiny. So it just look like they're shining. And it would also make them jump out a little bit from the page because they're quite camouflaged against that background. I made a bit of a mistake there really, I think. Now for these I'm just going to go in here. I'm going to, on these berries, Rita's drawn a black line and I'm going to go over it in my white pen to make it look like shine. On these ones, I am going to go around the middle a little bit, in the middle, with some dots. This does not show up so well on that colour. We've got more berries to do. Whoops, follow the lines. That was a very badly done one. But there we go. And now we're at, oh, you can't see. Oh, sorry. I just followed Rita's lines. There was nothing too complex. Now we have our water. We go around the edge here. Just follow what Rita has done. Now it may not show up brilliantly because our background isn't that dark, but I'm going to do my best. It also might benefit from several layers of white, but actually I think having some of the black showing through makes it stand out more from the background, because otherwise it's a bit camouflaged because it's quite pale. So there's that bit. And here are these. So I'm just going to do a little bit around each one. Again, Rita's marked on here, so it's quite easy. Now remember, we're going to do these white. Can you see? No. These. Do these white. You could just leave them white, but mine are a bit, they've been coloured over a bit, so just going to make those flowers white in the middle. I missed that. I think I'm going to make that do. I don't want to be over fiddly, so let's zoom out Some people like dotting white in lots of places, and sometimes I do too. But I think, just trying to get that in the middle. I don't know what's going on with my camera. I'm going to have a fiddle with it because it seems really, I don't know, it seems a bit odd. But anyway, that is the finished picture. So I actually, with that particular page, which is rare for me, I coloured every element with you. And I know some of you say you prefer that, but I hope it wasn't too boring to just keep going over and over the same sorts of things over and over. Let me know. Obviously the video gets a bit longer as well. We've got quite a lot of sessions from this same page. So let me know whether you prefer that or not, and then I'll be able to gauge what's sort of popular and what's not with you, because obviously I can't keep every single one of you happy, but I can do what's best. Now, these flowers have gone pink where I've put the white on, and that is to do with the pigment in the pencil. It's not to do with the pen, and it's happened, these purple ones have, it's faded a bit as well. Now with Black Widow, that does happen, so you might want to think, do I want to do those white because they'll go pink? And you can keep adding layers, but it just keeps staying pink. I tried before, and you can't add more layers and make it go away, unfortunately, or if you do, you end up, it looks nasty as well, so don't go over it again. So you know, you might think, oh, perhaps I won't bother with that, but that's that. Anyway, I'm going to go on waffling away. Thank you for joining me on the picture. I had a lot of fun colouring it with you, and I hope you did too. And have a lovely day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Make someone smile, and happy colouring.